Well, welcome back to Elvis Lives Part 3. Now, in this part of the film series, what I'm going to do is focus mainly on the music and how this music has been done and how it has continued going all the way back from right after they told us Elvis had died all the way up till today in 2012. You know, the world was told Elvis Presley had died, but this did not stop him from releasing new music. He kept putting out new music for the fans the whole time. And I believe that this is very awesome. And that's what this part of the film series is all about, the music. But before we get into this, I would just like to say it has now been 35 years since the world was told a lie that Elvis Presley had died. Now we know that this lie was not meant to hurt anybody, but I also believe that they didn't tell us Elvis had died as an escape from his career as the king of rock and roll. It wasn't done so he could escape the fame or the fans. He had no choice. He had to do this. There had been people that put out contracts on his life, and they were going to kill him. And like he said in his movie, if he just disappeared, these people would have went after his family to get to him. So he had no choice. Any of us would do the same. But I do believe that right after they told us that he had died, they started putting out a lot of information. A lot of stuff was coming out in the news right afterwards, trying to show us that he really did not die. And a lot of fans took this seriously, and they believed it. And some believed this the whole time. But the world went on, and most people forgot about all the stuff that was coming out right after they told us he died. But I do not believe Elvis turned his back on the fans. He kept putting out new music the whole time. That says a lot about this man. But you know, a lie is still wrong. And I believe eventually the truth has to come out. And I believe that Elvis most likely feels this way. And I believe that that is why this year he has put out a movie telling the whole story of what really happened, and 2 CDs with new music. I believe it's really important to Elvis that he sees the day when the whole world knows the truth, what really happened. But like he tells us in his movie, he can't come out on his own. He can't hold that worldwide press conference or walk on TV on the news and tell the truth what really happened until he receives this permission. And he tells us why they're denying this permission to him in his movie. But I believe that he needs our help. We as individuals do not need permission to tell people the truth. And I believe Elvis really needs us now to help people see what really happened. And I believe that if the world knows the truth, it is common knowledge that Elvis Presley is really alive, and we know the situation that he's really in today. I don't see any reason at all why they would deny him the permission to come back. You know, Elvis was the greatest entertainer in American history. He gave so much to us. I don't think it's asking a whole lot to help him out by telling people of what's really going on, that he is alive. I also believe that the world needs to know the man behind the image. You know, we all know Elvis by his music and by the movies and the different movies and publications that have came out over the years about Elvis's life. But the one thing that most people are unaware of about Elvis's life is his career as a federal agent and how he took this responsibility on himself. You know, no one told Elvis to do this, and he sure didn't do it for the money. I believed he loved his country so much, and he was seeing that it was being destroyed, that he did what he could to help. And I also believe he probably felt like God wanted him to do this. And like he says in his movie, he wouldn't turn his back on God. Now there is one more thing that I want to go over real quick, and that's how there is still a lot of people, even though the truth is out, that try very hard to prove that Elvis really did die. So what I want to do is just compare some of the evidence that Elvis is alive versus evidence that Elvis really did die. Alright, most people that try to prove that Elvis died, they use the story about the drug problem, how the drugs led to his death. Now, I do not believe that Elvis Presley had a drug problem that would lead to his death. This is only a story. And this story came out after they told us he died. But let's look at some of the more solid, supposedly evidence showing that Elvis died. Alright, the first is, it was on the news. They told us on the news that Elvis died. Well, do you realize that many times since then, and even right after then, they were telling us that it looked like Elvis really did not die. And many times they told us he was alive. And it's only been 4 years ago that Fox News told us that DNA tests proved Elvis Presley is alive and that DNA evidence don't lie. And another thing they've got is there's a death certificate. Now, do you realize that handwriting analysts have proven that Elvis filled out his own death certificate? Gotta tell you, dead people don't write. That's impossible. Elvis did not die. Now, another thing is the picture of Elvis in the casket. To start with, this does not look like Elvis Presley at the time that they told us he died. It looks like a little skinny Elvis from the 60s. And this was on the front of the National Enquirer, the only magazine that had this picture was the National Enquirer, America's most discreditable magazine. Okay, there was also an autopsy. Now, DNA tests proved that DNA from the autopsy did not match DNA supposedly from Elvis Presley. So that proves the autopsy was not performed on Elvis Presley. Now another thing is there is a grave. But on the gravestone, his name is spelled wrong. Now that is all the evidence that people say there is that shows that Elvis really did die. I gotta tell you, all that evidence has been discredited. It's no good. There is absolutely no evidence at all showing Elvis Presley really did die. Versus mountains and mountains of information going back the entire 35 years showing us and telling us that Elvis did not die.
And I just got off the phone with the DNA specialist out of Arizona. He says he believes Eliza is Elvis's half-sister and that Elvis is still alive. He says the proof is there. DNA evidence doesn't lie. In the studio, Lauren Lee, Fox 13 News.